Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Yesterday I posted my video about RICHTOFEN'S missing soul. It was 16 minutes long, I was frowning through the whole thing, and I talked about the different possibilities for what might have happened that would have led to RICHTOFEN'S soul not flying up into the air towards Maxis and towards the house in the Gorod Krovi Easter egg outro cutscene. Now, I looked at the comments of that video, I looked at all couple of thousand of them, 2,000 or 3,000 comments, and I was like, hold on, okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm seeing an overarching theme, and that's that you guys, certainly in the comments of yesterday's video, weren't too worried about me being wrong, or me being, like, slightly off with a theory or something like that. You'd much rather just hear me talk about my best guess, my closest attempt at the truth, and that way we can work together to seek out the truth and find the correct theory, okay? So I figured I would do that in this video. I figured I would give you an update, a part 2, if you will, on RICHTOFEN'S missing soul in Gorod Krovi. I'm not really a massive fan of the theory we're going to be talking about here. I dislike it, I do. I dislike it, it's true. It's just not that fun, in my opinion, as a theory. But, admittedly, that shouldn't matter, because we're looking for the truth, not for what I like. So, without further ado, this is probably what has happened, and Treyarch has just done it in such a way that I'm not a massive fan of it personally, okay? So, it's quite likely that RICHTOFEN just never collected his soul in the giant, okay? So, what happened is RICHTOFEN shot himself in the face, went down, knelt next to the body. Dempsey goes, "RICHTOFEN, I saw you holding something close to your body." And RICHTOFEN goes, "Pictures, Dempsey. Pictures, or it didn't happen." Which is a great quote, and it got us all thinking, but what is actually happening there is nothing at all. Or something else entirely. RICHTOFEN is not getting the soul from that character and absorbing it into the key. Could he have already got his 1.0 soul somewhere else? Yes, that is not ruled out. Could he have not got a soul for himself at all and have been misleading the characters throughout the entire Black Ops 3 story arc? Yes, that's also true. But the evidence seems to suggest that RICHTOFEN 1.0's soul was not collected in the giant. Fine. We also then have Jason Blundell a bit later on in the Der Eisendrache stream he did with Noah J, saying, okay, well, the souls we've collected so far, well, we got the Shadow Man's. The Shadow Man's soul is in the key. That's confirmed by Jason B himself. And Jason then says, and we've just got Dempsey 1.0, which was from Der Eisendrache. He doesn't particularly call out RICHTOFEN, though. He doesn't specify that RICHTOFEN is also in there as well, which is just an interesting thing to add on. I don't think it's damning evidence of the idea that RICHTOFEN's soul has never been collected, but I do think that it's worth adding into the discussion. So that's another bit of food for thought. We also have the Shadows of Evil secret scrap to worry about, and this can be explained away as well. So my reasoning yesterday for the scrap being a bone of contention here is that it's got the 4 sets of coordinates on it, and that's for the Giant, Der Eisendrache, Zetsubou no Shima, and Gorod Krovi. And in each of those locations, there's a soul that we need to collect. Now, we can explain away the fact that there are the 4 coordinates on there rather than just 3 by the fact that maybe RICHTOFEN just needed to reconvene with the other Origins characters, and he wanted to do that at the Giant, or he knew that he would be able to do that at the Giant. That's completely possible. Alternatively, maybe he did need something from the RICHTOFEN that he killed in the Giant, but it wasn't the soul. Or maybe he just needed to do something special with that scenario, which then gives him a reason to have the coordinates on the scrap of paper, because that's his scrap. So that's explained away as well. So we're making progress here. We're kind of, in my opinion, sort of bumbling our way, but moving forwards nonetheless, through the roadblocks that we need to move through in order to find whatever the correct theory is here. So, good progress so far. Oh man, I've got something in my eye. And it's not my eyeball. Nobody make that joke, okay? So to further add to this theory, we can talk about the fact that RICHTOFEN has asked Maxis for the space-time coordinates of some extra individuals, okay? Those extra individuals could well be RICHTOFEN 1.0, or the RICHTOFEN in the Giant, rather, and then also maybe the Origins characters as well. And he wants to see where they all are, so he can find out when they're going to convene together, and that's when he's going to go there and group them back up and then herd them through Black Ops 3. That's a possible explanation for the wording of that message, and it actually fits quite nicely that. I think that is a nice interpretation of the extra coordinates that he asks Maxis for, and the reason he'd need to ask Maxis for extra coordinates is because if Monty is aware of the fact that Kid Eddie is already in the house and he's been in the house for ages, then Monty isn't going to be asking for this extra soul, for this fourth soul, right? He's only going to be asking for 3 souls, and so he's going to give Maxis 3 sets of coordinates to give to Richtofen to go and collect. Now, that is going to mean that if Richtofen wants to meet up with the Origins crew again, and if Richtofen wants to meet up with this particular version of him from the Giant, then he's going to need some extra coordinates from Maxis, and so that is what we see being talked about in that message. Maxis, have you got the space-time coordinates for the other individuals I asked for? Voila, explained. So, at this point, we're really making quite good progress. Now, let's talk about the implications of what this means for Gorod Krovi specifically. In Gorod Krovi, we collect Nikolai's soul, and then the 3 souls fly into the air. We're all aware of that. Now, is this going to mean, I am posing this question to you guys, let me know in the comments down below, does this mean that we're going to be seeing more children in the house in DLC 4? Because we're going to the house in DLC 4. That is happening. That is legitimately going to be something we visit in DLC 4. But my question is, we've had Samantha in the house for a long time. We've had Eddie in the house for a long time, as stated by Monty, as we see in the Origins cutscene. Now that the other souls are being sent up, are they also going to be children in the house? Are we going to have Kid Takio, Kid Nikolai, Kid Dempsey, Kid Richtofen, and Kid Samantha all in the house? Heck, is there going to be a Kid Maxis? Is Monty a child? There are so many questions that we have to ask from this point. It's really an exciting time to be thinking about all this as well, because once the map releases on Xbox and PC, Gorod Krovi that is, we're going to get the story trailer for the map on the release date. That's what they do with all the previous maps, and that's what they'll be doing with this as well, the music video. And in that, there'll no doubt be hints towards DLC 4 as well. We're going to be seeing new shots of the story of Gorod Krovi, new shots of Nikolai's history, Nikolai 1.0 that is, but also the crew's path towards DLC 4, and that is really exciting. So, in summary, this is the best possible explanation, I think, of what's going on here. Richtofen didn't get his soul, he's already in the house, Monty knows that he's already in the house, and so he only asks for 3 sets of coordinates. Richtofen misleads the other characters in the Giant, and then brings that misleading sort of theme forwards through all of the maps to keep them on board with him, and then he sends the souls up at the end. Heck, actually, you know what? Maybe he's not misleading them. Maybe he's just doing something that they all fully expect, because those characters don't say anything at all about this missing soul in their, dialogue after the Easter egg. There's no mention of it whatsoever, and so there's got to be something that they're all expecting, and this is part of the sort of reason that I said yesterday it kind of breaks down, and there's kind of inconsistencies here and there, but regardless, I wanted to make a quick video with what I think is probably the most likely option, not necessarily the most enjoyable option, but the most likely option for Richtofen's missing soul in Gorod Krovi's Easter egg outro cutscene. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this is clarified, because I saw a lot of people yesterday going, Milo, you're overthinking it, buddy. You're just thinking too much about this. And I'm like, well, yeah, probably. That's kind of what I do. That's sort of the whole point. But together we can move forwards towards more knowledge about the zombie storyline and figure out the truth about what's going on here. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye!